So hello everyone and welcome back to the mini interview series we are doing from the Data Platform Women in Tech group with the amazing women who are going to be speaking at the SQLBits conference. This conference is happening between the dates of March 14th and 18th of this year at Wales. If you are looking for a good conference to attend to get some database related training, it may be a good place to go. There are options to attend in person as well as virtually. Our speaker for today is Victoria Holt. She is going to be talking to business benefits of good governance, and you're going to be there in person, right, Victoria?
I certainly am. I'm also helping at SQLBits, and I'm a Bits buddy as well. So helping people get friends, helping them enjoy the conference, and yeah, basically for anyone that wants to chat as well. So
awesome. So her session is happening on Friday, March the 17th. The timing listed here is on Eastern time. So if you happen to be there in person or you're attending virtually, please look up the right time for yourself. Our sponsor for today is SQL Taylor Consulting. Joe Fleming donates $20 to Girls Who Code for every guest we have on the show. And he is a good resource for your remote DBA needs. Joe, thank you for doing this. All right, let's get started.
Hi, Victoria. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you ever so much for asking me.
So I've wondered for a while, what is your doctorate in?
It's a study into best practices and procedures for the management of database systems.
Very cool. Very impressive.
Yeah.
So it all started out because I was looking at databases itself, because I used to be a DBA looking after SQL Server databases and things like that, and things were always going wrong. You're always getting issues and things like that. So, well, they've got to get to the bottom of what's going on, because everyone's having the same kind of issues and things like that. So yeah, so I started my research, had lots of people from the community help and with research and things, and yeah, came up with like a framework and things as to how you think about looking at sort of like managing database systems and managing data, and how that kind of like could be, I suppose, sort of like help sort of like the situation, so we're not always getting the same problems and the same issues over again. I do talk a little bit about it because I thought, as well as like I moved from sort of like managing databases into sort of like looking at data and data governance and data architecture and things like that. And I thought, well, it's about time now I sort of like incorporate a bit of my PhD into the actual session as well. So I talk a little bit about a different way of looking at things in the actual presentation as well. So
wow, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, it's really important to tackle these problems, because I think looking at like things from like a systems mindset, because I did quite a lot of complexity systems management in undergraduate degrees as well. So I sort of combined it with my other favorite area, which was obviously data. So, and yeah, I think if you look at things in the right manner, you can then pick which frameworks you want, because no framework is perfect, and whether you're following a best practice or not best practice, or whether there are actually anything is a best practice or not, because they don't really. It's like a recommended way of doing things, isn't it? So there's been lots of arguments written about what is best practice a thing or is it not a thing. So
very cool. So this obviously is not your first SQLBits if you're a Bits buddy.
No, I've been at SQLBits since the very beginning. I don't think I've ever missed any. Always enjoy the conference. It's such a community feel, and lots of the helpers and things, obviously all community based as well. And yeah, it's just a really lovely atmosphere to learn. Everyone's like open and sharing and things. And yeah, I sort of grew up with SQLBits, I suppose. So it's nice to give back and sort of help, and then obviously get to share some content as well about data governance, or the new way of data governance, rather than like the big expensive way that a lot of people really think about it, and it puts people off moving forward, doesn't it? So
yes. And is that what your session is about?
Yeah, because looking at like the business benefits, I thought I'd tackle it from that way on, because there's no point as just thinking about deploying Microsoft Purview straight in, because you're still in the same situation. A tool doesn't fix it. It helps you do certain things, but you need to think about all the different areas that are not actually in the tool. So to get the best advantage of it, I thought, well, thinking about, the governance side of things, how that kind of works, and then kind of thinking like, yeah, so we want to go forward. How on earth do you ever even start to get a business to buy in, because it's expensive Purview, but then there's obviously all the tasks and things that go on as well, isn't there? So you need to sort of think about how that kind of works as well. So, and I think if you think little and small, you can sort of like get these things sort of like moving along all the way. So that's where I'm kind of like quite excited to try and get people to think about it differently, really, rather than think data governance, oh, that's a 3-year project, it's going to cost X amount of money, but it doesn't help us with our data quality and where we're going, is it? To sort of say, well, we want to embed this into AI going forward and things, and make sure the data is safe and compliant and stuff.
And I really like to describe that as like the all-encompassing of the entire data pyramid, right? So you've got, all of these layers of the data platform architecture that you have to have. And everybody wants to be at the top, where you've got machine learning and AI and all the cool stuff. But you can't do that if you haven't built a very strong foundation of, good data that's coming from sources that you understand, that's been transformed in a way that the, organization understands. And I like to refer to it, it's like we're so used to sticking our handouts and getting fresh water from the faucet. You don't even have to touch it anymore. You just stick your hand out, and like magic, this fresh water comes squirting out. That's the same way data is. You don't it's not magic. There's a whole lot of plumbing that goes into getting that water to come out of your faucet when you stick your hand out. And with data, it's the same way. You've got to build all of that foundation so that you get the clean data coming in, that you can do the cool stuff. And everybody wants to do the cool stuff without doing that hard work.
Yeah, that's it. And I kind of thought about things a bit differently as well, because in between working with sort of like SQL Server and things, I spent 3 years working on big data, and that really changes how you actually think about things and how you do all that processing and things. Because if things go wrong and you have to reprocess data, you're not talking about, oh, well, it's going to be finished at like 5 o'clock. It might be finished in 3 months' time, kind of thing. So getting all those core things built in at the beginning saves a lot of time and makes things a lot easier and things, and trying to search and sort of like that security element, isn't it? It's really, really difficult, but it needs to be built in as you go, and it needs to be all based on business cases as well. So it's like, well, I'm working at this particular thing, so we build all of that and the foundations as we go, because trying to boil the ocean doesn't really work, does it, with these kind of things as well? And it really just sort of like puts business off. I don't have that amount of money, but obviously you can save and make loads of advancements with your business if you get this foundation right. But it's about being like proactive and getting that as you go, really, isn't it, for all the different bits and things. And everyone's got data hidden everywhere, haven't they? And then they copy it and merge it and share it, and it's trying to keep track of that. So I do like the fact that Purview enables you to do all of that. And obviously now we're seeing like that's kind of moved, don't we, into that new sort of area as well, with sort of like, I know it's moved more into like the security platform side of things for that sort of defense in depth area. But you still need to think of it very much with analytics and AI.
Yes, absolutely. So do you have a costume for the party? Are you a costumer?
No, I'm not generally a costume person. Everybody does there and have their costumes. That's not one of my things, but you get to like talk to and see lots of people. Some people do, some people don't. I think it doesn't matter if you don't, but some people are just amazing, don't they, with what they spend months getting their costumes ready for the party and things. So that's like quite nice. It's sort of a nice end to bring everything together, isn't it, really, before the community day. So
yes.
So who's the kind of audience you expect for your talk? Is it for anybody, like you just mentioned people who don't want to drop a ton of money on data governance and look at the basics or the simple things, or who are the people you think would benefit from it?
Right. So I'm thinking about, if you want to get started, but you need to understand a bit of data theory with that, more so than going into the technical side of Purview. I mean, yes, Purview, I mentioned that it has some of these sort of features and things, but it's really about sort of positioning it, understanding all the different frameworks, the bit that you want from the frameworks, if you talk about CDMC or DAMA inside of those, and then a way of looking at it so that you can approach that and take that through the business, and it'll help you sort of work with sort of Purview or any other tools, because not everybody uses Purview and things for data governance. So sort of, I suppose that sort of it is an introductory level, but it will enable you to take a business case then to your business, so that you can kind of see where you could make your best benefit, and how thinking about it in a different light would probably help.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like manager level.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah. So so think something you might take to from your CDO level, or thinking it would fit in, you could fit it into data strategy, but because it's that, how do we move from A to B? Because I see that a lot of problems with a lot of customers and things all have the same sort of issues. They're umming and ahhing. Yeah, they kind of want we'll just to deploy the tool, or they don't know how to sort of move forward, really. So it's a different approach from just talking about this is what Purview is and this is what it can do, because there's lots of great sessions about that. It's about that overarching picture, which will enable you to then move on to the Purview things as well. So, but where sort of Purview could fit in and help with that. So.
Awesome. Sounds like a great session.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I'm always happy to hear of people also who grew up with conferences, because I grew up with the PAS Summit. I attended it for 23 years until it died. And this
it's amazing conference.
That's how my career grew with it, because I was able to keep up with going and managed to do it for such a long time. The kind of people you meet and the network you grow from that is pretty invaluable.
Yeah, and it is that networking element, which is really important. So even though we've been through this pandemic, it's not, you don't get quite the same sort of interaction and things with people, do you? To sort of I was just thinking about this, and it is nice. I mean, I've been to PAS a few times, but yeah, it is just that nice being back to being in person, really, isn't it? So
it is.
It is nice. It's nice. I also think, personally, I wish they would keep, that's what I like about BITS, is they still have a virtual option for some of us who can't come in person, which is really nice. It's not about getting it perfect, but they have something going.
Yeah.
Summit is not having that this year.
No, I think it's just in person only, isn't it? Summit I saw. So
Correct.
And it's the same week, I think, as Ignite.
Three conferences
and Live 360. I'm like, that's going to be challenging.
I don't quite understand the ethos behind that, because I think it's quite difficult, isn't it, to split between multiple conferences, because you kind of think a lot of the announcements will be at Ignite. I mean, obviously there'll be more than just data announcements and things like that.
Exactly.
But it splits the pool of people, doesn't it?
It's highly likely that we are going to be in official recession by the time we get there. The number of layoffs that are going on day by day, I don't know how many people can afford a conference in a big city with that. It's highly unlikely. Highly, highly unlikely.
There's kind of quite a lot, isn't there? So
yeah,
there's definitely been a lot of layoffs, a lot of turnover, and that's kind of scary. So
it is. All right, then. Thank you, Victoria.
Well, Victoria, thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to see you in person. It looks like you've got a coughing attack going on.
Take care and thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Catch your breath. Don't choke. Looking forward to seeing you in less than a month. Super excited.
Yes, amazing. Thank you very much for speaking to me.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.